I've tested every pair of AirPods that ever launched, and now with the new AirPods 4 and AirPods 4 ANC, this lineup can really make it tough to choose. So in this video, I'm going to test and analyze each pair of AirPods so you can hear the microphone quality, compare my ANC results, and see my unbiased sound analysis. We'll also dig into the features, the design, and some use cases that you may not have considered. And of all of these, of everything I'm going to talk about in this video, I have to say, like, the microphone test, of all things, is just so shocking to me. Like, if you're on phone calls a lot, it's just, you have to see this. So with that being said, I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's take a few steps back and kind of start off on the ground floor here of what is the AirPods lineup? What are the prices? What are the models? What has been kicked off and kind of replaced from last year's products? Well, with the new AirPods 4 and AirPods 4 ANC, those are essentially replacing the AirPods 2 and the AirPods 3. Starting off with the AirPods 4, they're $129, which is the lowest entry-level AirPods we see, again, replacing the AirPods 2, and compared to the AirPods 2, they are a massive, massive upgrade. So Apple really gives you a lot here. These are really premium earbuds for this price. They're also, as you can see, a much smaller case than we've ever seen in AirPods in the past. Not only smaller than the AirPods 2 and 3, but also the AirPods Pro as well. Just a really microscopic case. The AirPods 4 ANC then are very, very similar in geometry, identical actually, to the AirPods 4, except there are some fundamental differences that make them $50 more expensive at $179. Those, I believe, are really intended to replace the AirPods 3. But again, even with the AirPods 4 ANC, clearly a very small case. The buds are also very small, and both the 4 and the 4 ANC have what we call an open design, which means that they don't have silicone ear tips that go into your ear, and the trade-off here is that you won't be getting the same level of ANC and the same isolation from the outside world you can get when you actually plug your ears, obviously. But the upsides, there are a number of them. For one, you have much more hygienic earbuds, much easier to clean. They don't go deep in your ear, so they rarely get dirty. So if you're sharing your earbuds with somebody else, again, much more hygienic. Secondly, more people find them more comfortable. I know some people that just cannot use silicone ear tips, and so they only buy the AirPods 2 or the AirPods 3, and now finally, the AirPods 4 and the 4 ANC. And then the last positive is, I'm no doctor here, but I have seen some studies saying that it is potentially healthier to have open earbuds compared to closed ones, just kind of sealing off your ear if you wear them for, many hours a day, say 8 hours a day. That may not be healthy for everybody's ears. So an open design could be really beneficial there. Then we have the AirPods Pro, the AirPods Pro 2, if you want to call them that. These have USB Type-C, kind of the newest AirPods Pro you can buy from apple.com. Now these are $249. A slightly larger and slightly heavier case than the AirPods 4, but still a very nice compact case. We also have a lanyard on here, or lanyard loop. That's kind of something we didn't see on the lower models, the 4 and the 4 ANC, and some other things we'll talk about when we get into the features of these earbuds. But otherwise, these do have silicone ear tips, a very iconic and classic style for earbuds. I think these are probably the most popular earbuds in the world right now, so I don't really have to show you what they look like. I'm sure you've seen these absolutely everywhere. And then we have the AirPods Max. $549, but these have just been updated. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the original AirPods Max, but I want to make this very, very clear. There is nothing different about the new AirPods Max except USB Type-C and the colors. So for all purposes in this video, comparing the old AirPods Max to all the other AirPods in this lineup is exactly the same as comparing the new AirPods Max to the rest of the lineup. The only difference, like I said, the color and USB Type-C, but we're accounting for that when we talk about the design. But speaking of the design, all of these actually have USB Type-C now, which is great. If you get the AirPods 4, the Max, whatever you get, they all have USB Type-C. That's a big benefit there. However, the charging methods are very different among them. So, of course, they all start with USB Type-C, but the AirPods Max and the AirPods 4 only have USB Type-C. Once you go up to the AirPods 4 ANC, again, $50 more than the AirPods 4, you're getting wireless charging, and you're getting the ability to charge on an Apple Watch charger. So if you're traveling, that's a little bit beneficial that you don't need to plug in two things at once. You can kind of just charge it on a wireless charger. Then AirPods Pro 2 add another type of charging, which is MagSafe charging, which, believe it or not, the AirPods 4 ANC do not have MagSafe. You can set it on a MagSafe charger and it does charge, but it doesn't stick magnetically. I think because it's just too small for the magnet coil or the magnet ring to actually, this is just too small. But the AirPods Pro 2, like I said, do have that. So if you're driving and you need to charge up your AirPods and you have a MagSafe charger there. You can just set it there, it'll magnetically stick, and so you can charge your AirPods Pro 2 in the most ways possible. Apple Watch charger, MagSafe, whatever you want, and USB Type-C. Now, continuing on with the design differences among these, the AirPods Max, as I mentioned, are the only type of AirPods you can get that have any different colorways. They all come in white. The AirPods Max, as you can see, have quite a few different colors. However, I'm still not a big fan of the case of the AirPods Max. You can see it kind of sits in there, a little magnetic flap on there. It doesn't protect it very well. I've had these for quite a few years, and as you can see, the headband really took on quite a bit of damage. It still works just fine, but it just looks very wrinkly and loose and not like I would like for a $550 pair of headphones. But, you know, that's the way it goes when you don't have a case that protects that. Otherwise, the rest of the headphones are fairly well protected. It's not even that hard of a case, but it's enough to be scratch resistant and not really damage them, considering I throw these in my backpacks all the time. Now, as far as controls go on these different devices, the AirPods Pro have pinch and swipe, which is my favorite. Out of all of these, those are, in my opinion, the best controls. You can pinch, double pinch, pinch and hold on either earbud, or you can swipe up and down, and that will control your volume. The AirPods 4 and the 4 ANC only have pinch controls. Unfortunately, they do not have swipe controls for volume. I think that's a little bit of a drawback, but again, you know, something you're getting with the lower tier of AirPods. And then, in my opinion, last place here has to be the AirPods Max. You have gigantic pads on the outside, like a huge surface there that I think would make sense to have touch controls, but for one reason or another, we only have controls using the dial, which is like a digital crown on the top, or the button. So the dial or the crown works as a button as well, so you have two buttons and one of them rotates. It's kind of it for that. I wish there were more controls, but you get used to them and they definitely work well enough. As far as the fit and the comfort goes for these, I want to kind of split them to fit being how well they like stay on my head when I'm doing things, and comfort being if you're just kind of sitting around, which one gets uncomfortable first. So for fit, the AirPods Max actually do stay on my head very, very well. If I'm working out, doing something dynamic, they pretty much never fall off my head. However, the AirPods 4 do, in my opinion, the best job of staying in my ears. The 4 and the 4 ANC having the same geometry. I'm kind of bundling them together here. I can do burpees with these, I can run with these, I can do anything I want to do. They stay in my ears personally, the absolute best. The AirPods Pro, however, are the bottom of these three, of these kind of 4 earbuds here. Unfortunately, because the silicone ear tips, for me personally, and I know this is not true for everyone has different ears, but going in your ear canal, this is where you get the most variation in ears because you're really interfacing a lot with the ear geometry of every individual. And so for me personally, the left one just always falls out. It works its way out after, maybe a couple minutes. I'm always like pushing it back in. If I'm on a call talking to somebody, I'm always like adjusting it and putting it in. However, side note here, I do know you can buy aftermarket wingtips that kind of just go on the outside. They're silicone and they'll just have a little wingtip that stays in your ear. I made a video about them before. I never even bought them. Like, I need to get those. I don't know. You know what? I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to order them on Amazon. All right, so this is them. I found them on Amazon. They're like $15. I'm going to get them. It's going to really make a big difference for me. But otherwise, that's my ranking of the fit for these. As far as comfort goes, again, the AirPods 4 are the most comfortable for me. Your ears can really breathe. You don't have any kind of like pressure or tight feeling in there that some people really don't like about the Pros. However, the Pros for me are also very comfortable. I would actually say they're almost tied in first place. The geometry is really fantastic. Very nice, soft silicone ear tips. And the AirPods Max, also incredibly comfortable when you first put them on, but because of the weight, I find that after wearing them for an hour or a little bit longer than that, they can become like just a little bit warmer, a little bit heavier on my ears, a little bit more fatiguing. These are the Apple AirPods Pro in a studio environment. This is probably as easy as it gets for any earbuds. AirPods have always had really good microphones, like the best in any earbuds out there, but we're going to find out which pair of AirPods actually has the best microphones. Now, these are the Apple AirPods 4 with ANC, filming indoors in the studio environment. And I actually want to compare these as well to the regular AirPods for the non-ANC ones, just to see if there's actually any difference in the microphones. I know these are the Apple AirPods 4 without ANC. Again, I believe the microphone should be the same as the 4 with ANC, but you'll be able to let me know in the comments down below. And by the way, I actually think that of all the AirPods, the 4s I think looks the most subtle. Like they're not a giant straw sticking out of your ear. They're pretty subtle. I actually really like how these feel and how these look. And now, of course, these are the Apple AirPods Max. I have to say the transparency sounds just immaculate on these. It feels like there's nothing on my head at all. I can really hear everything very well. So I would expect the microphones to also be really great quality on these. In fact, I know they are. I've seen them, I've tested them many times in the past. But let me know again what your ranking is, how you think these compare to the other three pairs of in-ear AirPods. But let's actually go outside now to a louder environment, something a little more difficult to see how these all perform next to a busy road. It's windy out here, there's traffic behind me. This is a pretty difficult environment for any microphone on any pair of earbuds or headphones. Now for the AirPods Pro, same environment, definitely very loud out here, definitely very difficult for these, but let me know how they sound. Now the AirPods 4 ANC. A lot of people ask me why you would want ANC on open earbuds. They say it like defeats the purpose, but honestly, I don't think that's true. I think ANC is pretty nice on these because it just kind of takes out the subtle hums and drums in a room while still giving you a nice open pair of earbuds that for some people is more comfortable and more hygienic. For without ANC, just to see if it's actually any different in a louder environment. Even though it doesn't have ANC, I would expect the microphones in a call like this, if you're outside, to be very similar to the AirPods 4 with ANC. So that the ANC is really only related to actually how it plays back in your ears. So great microphones, great ANC on these. There's a lot that these really do right, but let's talk about the sound quality of all of these. The AirPods Max, I would say, have the best sound quality out of all of them, even though everything here is only using SBC and AAC codecs for the most part, with one small exception that I'll talk about in a second. The AirPods Max are the most capable, the largest drivers in there. It's really no surprise that over-ear cans like this are going to deliver the best sound quality. And even among other flagship headphones out there, if you're looking at like Sony or the XM5s, or if you have like the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultras, like AirPods really hold their own even with lower resolution codecs and really sound fantastic. As I talked about in my comparison of the best headphones, best Bluetooth headphones, AirPods Max are right up there with the best sound quality. Nice rich bass on here, really good balance across the board. I like them a lot. So they're a really obvious pick here as the best sound out of all of these. In second place, the AirPods Pro, again, a very kind of neutral sound that works well with a lot of different genres. They're not super bass heavy, which I personally do appreciate. They do have a little bit of a recession in the upper mids, I don't know, we've seen it with AirPods Pro for a little while, something around like maybe 1200 hertz-ish, a little bit lower, and there's no EQ in the app to really adjust that, but otherwise, just a nice sounding pair of earbuds that works well, like I said, in pretty much any genre. And then the AirPods 4 and the 4 ANC, those two sound the same for the most part. The ANC doesn't really make that much of a difference, if at all, from my experience when you're turning it on versus off with the sound quality. But I put them a little bit below the AirPods Pro because even though they are very capable and they really sound quite nice, the lack of that silicone seal right there, the ear tip, kind of makes it a little bit tougher to deliver the bass that I would like to hear from these. I'm not looking for like heavy bass, but I'm just saying, compared to the AirPods Pro, the geometry is going to be a limiting factor there, and it's never going to sound quite as good. Then, of course, we get into the features, probably the most important category of this entire video, because all of these different products have very different features. And I mean, Apple does this as every other company does as well, where they want to reward and incentivize a more premium purchase. So the AirPods Pro, it's no surprise, should have more features than the AirPods 4 and the AirPods 4 ANC. So with that being said, the AirPods Pro, starting off there, one new feature set that wasn't even out when they launched these, they're actually just rolling this out right now, is their hearing assistance suite, which really has a three-prong approach to really assist your hearing or help your hearing. So one side, you have detection, you have protection, and you have aid. Kind of sounds vague, I'll explain them. So detection, this is essentially going to be a hearing test that can help you understand if you have any kind of hearing loss. A lot of people in the world have hearing loss. Most of it, I think like 80% of hearing loss goes completely untreated. People either don't know about it, don't acknowledge it, or just, I don't know, don't have anything like this that can easily do an at-home test. So this is really nice. It plays a little sound. I tried it. You tap whenever you hear the beep in either ear, and it can test what frequencies and what volumes your ears are able to detect. Then we have protection. This is kind of what we've seen before, but it is changing a little bit here. So like if you have transparency on and then like there's a car crash near you or something, it's not gonna reproduce that loud sound through your ears. Instead, it's going to produce a quieter sound in there. Now, this can also be used, and I saw a really cool use case of this just 2 days ago. I was at a wedding. The bartender has to hear everybody, but they also, like, it was really loud in there, like really, really loud. Definitely damaging to your ears if you didn't have any kind of earplugs. And the guy had AirPods in, which at first might seem like a little bit rude, but I knew what he was doing. I knew that he had transparency on. It was reducing the volume of the music in the room, but he could still hear everyone who placed an order. So it's kind of the perfect setup for that, in my opinion. And then the third thing that does, of course, is aid, where if you turn on transparency and you're, setting this up as the hearing aid, like kind of an amplification of the sound around you, it can focus on voices and make it a lot easier to be engaged in conversations that anyone with hearing loss would otherwise really kind of be left out in. And that can, of course, lead to, I'm, again, not a doctor, not going to get into that, but like people who can't hear as well are more likely to be depressed and more likely to develop Alzheimer's and have a whole list of other things that are very negative that something like this as a hearing aid could really benefit you. Now, that was a huge tangent, a really cool feature suite though that I'm a pretty big fan of, but continuing on, the AirPods Pro also have ultra wideband Find My, so locating them, unlike everything else in this lineup, you can actually use your phone and it points and you can navigate exactly to where it is. The AirPods 4 ANC are the next best, where they do have kind of a locating feature. It's based on Bluetooth signal strength, which again I think should roll out to the other ones as well, like the Maxes and the regular AirPods 4. It didn't though. It's a feature that, again, helps you locate it. And of course, the AirPods Pro and the AirPods 4 ANC both have that speaker on them as well, so it'll chirp and you can find the case. But the AirPods 4 non-ANC really don't have any locating feature at all. Like if you lose the AirPods, you can make them chirp, but otherwise nothing. And same thing, the AirPods Max. I don't know why they didn't add better locating features on here. Maybe just because it's so gigantic and you're less likely to lose it. I don't know. I think it could be kind of a nice thing to add there. The AirPods 4 and the AirPods 4 ANC, cool part of these is the kind of a hidden feature here. They have no button for pairing, so instead when you open the case, if you double tap the light, actually just below the indicator light there, it'll flash white and you're in pairing mode. Otherwise, you've got a button for the AirPods Pro. And another one, this is a sleeper one that you really won't hear much about. The AirPods Pro have a skin detection sensor versus the AirPods 4 and the AirPods 4 ANC, which have an optical ear detection sensor. The difference here is that the skin detection sensor is really good at knowing the difference between a table and your ear, whereas the others are not. So if you take out, say you're listening to a podcast, somebody walks over, you take out your AirPods and you think, oh good, it's paused because I took them out. I can talk to this person and not lose my spot in the audiobook or the podcast. And then you set them on the table. Well, the AirPods 4 are going to say, hey, look, this looks like an ear, and they're going to start playing again. The AirPods Pro are going to know the difference, and they're not going to do that. Something cool that rolled out with the AirPods 4 is the Simply Nod feature, if you want to call it that. You can nod your head yes or shake your head no in response to Siri. So if you get a notification, it asks if it wants you to respond, or if you want to respond, you can just nod or shake your head and kind of manage everything without ever having to really talk to Siri like that. Now, the AirPods 4 ANC and the AirPods Pro have personalized spatial audio and conversation awareness. Conversation awareness is like, if you don't want to take your AirPods out and somebody came over to you, you can just start talking. It detects that you're talking, turns on transparency, turns your music way down. You can hold a conversation, and when you're done, it'll automatically detect, hey, you haven't talked in like 5 or 10 seconds. It'll turn the music back up, turn that ANC back on, and you're good. Now, the AirPods Max seem to be missing that personalized volume and conversational awareness. I would love to see that, but you know what? It's easy enough to just press a button on those, I guess, so I can't really complain too much. Now, all of these have the normal AirPods stuff, seamless switching, Siri, audio sharing on your iPhone or your iPad, and of course the same drawbacks you'd have with all of them as well, like no equalizer app on any of them, and kind of limited compatibility with non-Apple devices. Like if you get the AirPods and you have a Windows laptop, they'll connect, but you can't really do much with that. Oh, and one other cool feature with the AirPods Pro is that they have 20-bit lossless audio capabilities when you're pairing them with the Vision Pro. So that's the one exception I said with the codecs, where I think it's because of proximity, how close it is to the AirPods or to the Apple Vision Pro, it's able to do that. I'm not sure exactly why we don't see that with the phone or anything else, but I think it's very interesting that that feature does exist. Now, as far as battery life goes with these, the AirPods 4 ANC give you 4 hours in the earbuds and 20 hours total when you include the case. Kind of weak, honestly, but if you turn ANC off, or if you just have the non-ANC version, you're getting 5 hours in the earbuds and 30 hours when you include the case. The AirPods Pro, definitely better, 6 hours in the earbuds, 30 hours when you include the case. Again, that's kind of without ANC. It's more like 5 hours and 25 hours when you have ANC on, which I do. Of course, it depends on how loud it is around you and stuff like that, what volume you listen to, what kind of music you listen to. There's a lot that affects the battery life. But the worst out of these, unfortunately, is actually the AirPods Max, just a 20-hour battery life. It's nice because 20 hours is better than 5 hours, but you don't have a case to recharge with.
So the active noise cancellation for these different AirPods, big question you probably have. I tested all of them, and my typical test that I like to do is play some white noise, the sound of a jet, at a set distance away. I turn that volume up until the AirPods are no longer able to block that out, until you're able to hear it at a very audible level, and then I record the decibel level of that sound being played. So comparing all of them, of course, in last place, the AirPods 4. These have no ANC. They're going to block essentially nothing. You can hear almost everything around you other than maybe just like whatever plugging your ears is going to be doing. Then moving up to the next level, actually quite impressive, the Apple AirPods 4 with ANC are blocking 52 decibels. That was the level I was getting with these, which I was really quite impressed by, considering that these don't have the silicone ear tip. They don't have really any passive noise blocking, and yet they're really able to drown out a lot of those lower frequencies. However, that is only one aspect of ANC. The other aspect would be the higher sounds, the crowd sounds, people talking, and these do definitely an impressive job of blocking that out, but not nearly as much as the AirPods Pro, for example, which have those silicone ear tips. But getting back to that white noise test, moving up to the third level, the Apple AirPods Max are actually just a hair behind the AirPods Pro in my experience, getting about 60 decibels versus 61 decibels. So when you're looking at all of these, again, very, very impressive that the AirPods 4 can hold their own. But if you really want the best ANC, in my opinion, your best bet is to get the Apple AirPods Pro. And if you want to go one step further, I would recommend getting foam ear tips. These are going to add some passive noise blocking to kind of reduce those crowd sounds, the higher pitch frequencies even more, and give you an even better silent experience.
So kind of in conclusion between all of these, I think this is definitely Apple's best lineup. It definitely makes the most sense to go with the AirPods 4 if you're on a budget. Really solid pair of earbuds that really deliver a lot. $50 more is a pretty reasonable jump considering you're getting better Find My features, you're getting conversation awareness, ANC, transparency. You're really getting a lot with the AirPods 4, and I think for me personally, that's a very, very compelling buy for many people out there. The AirPods Pro, of course, the Pro model, it's going to be obvious here that you get more features with that. If you really care about the hearing suite, the hearing aid suite, I think that is really quite impressive and very useful and probably very helpful for a lot of people. I love seeing Apple, put more focus on that aspect as opposed to just sounding better and things like that. Just the accessibility, I think I really appreciate that a lot. And then the AirPods Max, if you're somebody that does a lot more like laptop, desktop style editing, or you're just working on a computer a lot, or if you're traveling on a plane a lot, these are going to be probably your go-to. They're a little bit larger for traveling necessarily, so maybe not the plane option, but I use these at my iMac like all the time. Just because they connect so easily. They're great for video calls, really solid microphones. The transparency is absolutely, really just beautiful on here. I can hear everything around me. They do a good job. So that's my analysis of the AirPods lineup right now. Let me know what you think of these in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, which if you watched this long, I hope that means you did, please consider subscribing. And I recommend checking out this video next, where I dive into the ins and outs of the AirPods 4 and the AirPods 4 ANC. Thanks for watching. I'll see you over there.